Alright folks, we have over here a little box containing something potentially very special. Um, Pretty standard, I would say, PRS SE box. So I'm just gonna open this up and then we're gonna see what's inside. Alright, we've cut our way through the vast majority of the tape. Oh, and there we are. Immediately, my first observation is the PRS SE. It's a standard PRS SE kickback, but it's much darker in color. The usual ones are a bit more beige. Packing wise, well, I wouldn't say this is much protection, but then I haven't gotten this from overseas. I got this locally, so I would say just for a trip across town, this didn't need additional packing. All right, shall we open this up? Usual. Okay, the quality of the bag is as per PRS SE standards, which is good. Got nothing to complain. And okay, there we go. So as expected, underneath the guitar is protected. So we're gonna pull it out to the best of my ability with one hand. All right, so let's open this up. Let's take a look at this little special little thing inspected by somebody. That's great. Very recently. Hey, 7th of September, I'm guessing. Okay, so there's something in here to protect the headstock. That's great. It's wonderful. Let's remove that. Since it's an SE, it doesn't have the veneer on top. You can already guess what it is. Well, you don't need to guess what it is. You already know because that's the title of the video. This comes with PRS classic strings. These comes with 9s to 42s actually. Okay, I'm just going to put the camera down for a second while I get this out of the bag. All right, here it is. The very, very interesting, I would say rather beautiful Santana 50th anniversary SE edition, whatever it's called. Let's get rid of that. Let's see. First reactions, just as I maybe put this down over here so we can get a better look at it. It's very shiny, so I thought it might be a matte black, but it's not. It's a very gloss back. The sticker is actually, yep, it's flush. It's painted. I mean, it's underneath the lacquer, so that's pretty nice. I like this a lot actually. The fretboard has some streaking through the rosewood. That is nice. Looks like a very good piece of rosewood actually. The pickups are covered with the stickers, which I'm going to take off in a second. Yeah, it's not bad at all. And the back, that is a multi-piece back, as you can tell. There are two separate pieces of mahogany. There are two separate pieces, yes. You can see the seam line over here. That's great. Inspected by a couple of folks again, I'm guessing. The neck should be a multi-piece, I'm guessing, but I'm not really able to. Oh yeah, there you can see. You can clearly see one seam line, I'm thinking. So there's at least two pieces of mahogany neck. And this is built by Cortec Musical Instruments. The weight of the guitar, wow, it's quite light. Overall, I'm quite impressed. It's not feeling very cheap or anything, as I was expecting. I don't have a made in Indonesia SE, but this is my first one. Okay, why don't we put this, why don't we get some sounds from this and see how this plays. All right, folks, so let's check this out and play a little bit with this. I just played with the Custom 22 standing right behind me, just to give me some sort of reference. So that's a core PRS USA full flat custom 22, or rather Custom 22 piezo. So let's see how it sounds. I'm just going to put a clean tone, some distortion, and we'll see how it goes. That's a bridge pickup. Neck. Middle. Pretty resonant, definitely. So, first impressions, this just feels like a PRS. It feels like a very compact PRS. I mean, it's a 24.5 inch scale, so that's something. It's a slightly smaller body, or at least feels like a slightly smaller body with the Les Paul Junior style, Les Paul Junior, whatever, Les Paul double cut style, uh, equal sized horns versus the regular PRS, which is a bit more, one side is larger. Um, this guitar, interestingly, has come tuned to E flat, and that surprised me. I don't know if that's standard from the factory, but I don't know if it was set up by the local dealer here. Tremolo, and otherwise, it's come very well set up for sure. The action is really low. I mean, I don't know if I can show that to you, but yet there's no buzz. So the setup is great. The fretwork seems to be good. I was going all the way up. Uh, it's not bad. Like compared to an Epiphone of a similar price, which is what they are. This fretwork is definitely superior. This guitar is obviously made in Indonesia, not in Korea like the old PRS SEs, but I am quite impressed by the quality. I hope that the wiring and everything inside is good, because I've had some issues with quote unquote what they call import or Far East guitars. I live in the Far East, but with electronics being quite terrible. In fact, the Chapman standing right behind me, the Rabea, uh, I had to get the entire all the electronics replaced, including the bridge pickup. Not the neck I could keep because the wiring inside was terrible. Guitar is great otherwise, and it's got a nice Warpig in the bridge. But let's forget about that. Let's come back to this. So that we will have to wait and see on the electronics. It's a gloss guitar, which is nice, so it doesn't feel cheap some cheap gloss guitars do. This feels quite like any other PRS SE made in Korea that I have. I have multiple PRSs, so this feels quite home to me already, even though I've not played a Santana shape before. What else? The sound of the pickups is slightly higher output than I expected. It's definitely higher output than the Custom 22 at the back. So when I played it at the same settings as I played a Custom 22, this is louder. These pickups are different, of course. These are Santana pickups. These are not the 8515 or the TCI-esque Paul guitar pickups that come in the other Santana model. These are new. Feel like pretty throaty hard rock pickups, really. Nothing particularly different, but just from the 2 minutes that you heard right now, you could tell they have something to them. What else should you know? So quality-wise, it's all good. I'm quite surprised what you can get for the equivalent of what this guitar stands for these days. Specs-wise, of course, it's standard. Just it's quite simple from an electronic standpoint, because it's just three-way switch. There's no coil splitting, nothing. So you could say that versatility is not that great, but at the end of it, it's basically the three Les Paul sounds in a way. 24 frets on a small scale and light strings, because this is a 9 to 42, is actually not that difficult to play. It doesn't feel cramped up here at all. You don't notice that it's a small scale length. Surprisingly, when I played a 24-inch scale Fender Jaguar, I could feel a difference. It didn't feel great. But this one, 24.5, is pretty much in the same ballpark as a 594, which is my primary playing guitar. So who notices 0.09 inches, right? It's not noticeable, at least to me. So it feels good. Yeah, it's nice. And the overall impression I have to tell you is of quality. Much better quality than I expect at this price point. I don't know if all the standard PRS SE Santanas are like this, or it's just the special edition, but this is really good. Even the sticker, and I'm not a big fan of stickers on guitars, but even this is just, it's really well. It's underneath the lacquer. It does not look cheap at all. I actually think the black and natural combination looks very, very good. I have seen some Wood Library core guitars that I've seen with this combination that look really good, and this looks pretty nice as well. It's a pretty solid piece of maple. I don't know if you can just tell the border. It doesn't matter. It's definitely a piece of not flame maple, regular maple, which is fine because it's opaque anyway. The neck profile is what feels like a PRS's pattern or white fat. So it's not a super thin neck profile. It's not super fat either. It's maybe on the chunkier side, but not by much really. I would call this like a comfortable Les Paul kind neck, like a 59 Les Paul standard profile. If you play a Gibson rounded C, it's kind of like that, but a bit smaller, to my hands at least. It's not that sticky at all, though it's gloss finished. Yeah, I'm quite impressed. I'm quite impressed because I was expecting the guitar to feel much cheaper and look much cheaper than it did. and it doesn't feel and look cheap at all. I mean, I could be happy with this guitar, despite all the fancy toys all behind me. This guitar is nice. You gave me this guitar, told me this is all I could play for a while. I was like, yeah, sure, I could manage. Um, so yeah, so these are my first impressions. I will of course spend a bit more time with this guitar to give you a better review later. So if you want to do that, just do the usual stuff: subscribe, like, follow, so you can then know when that is coming up. I'll probably compare this to a few other guitars. If you would like me to compare to any of the particular guitars in my collection, I'll be happy to do that. So just take a look through my channel. I've got everything from custom 22s, 24s, 594s. All of that is there. So happy to compare. Okay, so should you get this guitar if you're considering it? And actually, in this side of the world, they have pretty much sold out already. I was asking my friend who's a dealer in Indonesia. He had 15 of them for the entire Indonesian market. They went in the first hour. And here locally, I managed to get it. So I don't know. I don't know how fast these guitars are selling. If you are in two minds about it, hopefully my video can tell you. You should. You should pull the trigger if you're in two minds and you're strongly considering this, because this is feeling pretty good to me at least. All right. Till next time.